Hey, guys. So I'm excited about this session. Whenever I do one of our Purge, Plan, and Pursue strategy sessions, I always see that there are some amazing people who who they just didn't know. They didn't know uh, some things, they didn't understand some things, and they get some ahas and some revelations while they are in the session, which is why it's so important for us to not only come in, get the information, but listen, go back, tell a friend and tell a friend, listen, and let them know that, hey, over here is something that's not only going to make you feel better about being in that entrepreneurial space, but also, is it something that is allowing you to be able to move forward in your business and your brand? So for the second quarter, something that I wanted to, push forward was, it's time to self-assess. As business owners, we've gone far too long with doing things and kind of stumbling over things and not making the self-assessments in order to see if what we're doing is working and where we need to change. Do we have some cracks in the foundation? Do we have some areas that are not as strong, some walls that may need to get strengthened and rebuilt? And in business, the worst thing you can do is to ignore the current state of affairs when it comes to your business. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that you should focus on it, but you do need to acknowledge it. And so first things first, you always have to do that self-assessment. Where's my business at right now? Am I making money right now? What's making me money right now? And so when we talk about that purge, plan, and pursue, there's some real questions that we have to ask ourselves. We can't be in denial anymore as business owners. Let's be honest. A lot of people that were in denial as business owners were not able to receive the PPP loan because they were in denial about if they really had a business, if they were doing business the right way. There are other opportunities that come up, and we are in a position to either access it and achieve it and do great things, or be left out in the cold. And so, how many other people will be left out in the cold? When we think about 2020, a lot of people that was their story. They felt like they were abandoned, that like there was nothing they could do for their business, and a lot of people had to close their doors. So for 2021, do we want that to be the same story that we're putting out to the world? Do we want that to be the same story that we're putting out to our children and our youth? Is that there's no way out? No, there's most definitely a way out. But first, we have to determine what we're actually standing in so that way we can better plan and prepare for a way out. I'm gonna just let that sit for a second. We have to be clear about what we are standing in so we can better prepare in order for us to get out. That part. So I'm excited about this session. Um, I always make it really, really simple for you guys. But the things that we're talking about are not things that are new. And they're not things that are, just came out of the blue. The new tools and resources that we have available to us allow us to better manage some of these things. But these are some of the core elements of business. Now, some of them are not always highlighted because they're not always the pretty things to do in business, but they're relevant. And so Dr. Maya Angelou said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that was Dr. Maya Angelou. And the reason why I did that quote was for two reasons. How are you making them feel? Your customers, your clients, previous customers and clients, how are you making them feel? If you have a podcast, your listeners, how are you making them feel? If you've written a book, your readers, how are you making them feel? And I know for far too long, we've been able to just kind of throw a blind eye to it and say, we guess that they're doing okay. But I want you to really take some time in the second quarter to ask that question. What is it that I'm doing for you? What have I done for you? What has my program or my process or the information that I've shared, what has that done for you? And really look at the answers that you will get. Now, I love this particular quote by Dr. Maya Angelou, and y'all know she's one of my faves. I found this quote in a gorgeous picture of her, and I will be sending it out to one of the attendees from this particular session. Absolutely love it. You're getting the picture and a frame to put it in, because it's something that we really need to remember. And I'm going to tell you later on how you're able to um, be in the running to get that picture and that frame. So that way it's something that you can put up in your office or in your home or on your mantle. So you can keep that in the forefront, is that you always want to be worried about and understanding how you make people feel. So we are about to go into second quarter. Woo, 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 woo. Some people, you're not as happy. I understand. First quarter for some people was pretty rough. It was a little daunting. And guess what? That's okay. So no matter what happened during that first quarter, I want you to go and really ask yourself the question and say, what is the goal for second quarter? Q2, what is the goal? What is the goal? And so when saying that, there's a couple things I want you to write down. First and foremost, what is your profit plan? What is your profit goal? What is your profit goal? What is your new client goal? And what is your client retention goal? Now, this is not one that I want you to think very hard about it at this exact moment, because this is something that I'm going to have you go back to as we're going throughout today's session. But what is your profit plan? What is the amount of money that you want to make in second quarter? So if you say that you want to make $5,000 a month for second quarter, then that is $15,000. If you say that you want to make $1,000 for the second, per month for the second quarter, that is $3,000 for the second quarter. This is how you engineer it, by working backwards. So what is the dollar amount that you want to make? And then we can backpedal and say, okay, what do we have, or are we putting in place to achieve that goal? Now, for some, it'll be easier than others. You'll have one class that may be $1,000. And that means you only have to get 3 people in the class to reach your goal, right? If your goal is at $3,000 per second quarter, you may have only small, items right now. And so you're trying to think, oh my goodness, how can I make it to that goal? So you may look at doing something in bulk. You may look at doing something and in a bigger group, and trying to do different, tactics and techniques for you to get in front of other people. These are all going to play a part in you really having success in this second quarter. They are all going to play major parts in you having success in the second quarter. And the only thing holding you back from your success is you. So when you write down what your goal is, don't second guess it. Don't second guess that you're good enough to make it. Don't second guess that you have what it takes, or you have the information to get. Don't second guess it. Put a number down on paper. When you have your new client goal, put a number down on paper. Where your client retention goal, put a number down on paper. What's your percentage of your retention goal? Now, some would say that you want to have 100% retention goal. I get that, but realistically, what is your retention goal? Now, on my calendar that I have on my wall, I have a dry erase calendar. I have my monthly goal. If I have a product that I'm selling for the month, I have that goal and how many I want to sell. If I have calls, I have my calls. I mark those down for how many calls I've had during the week or during the weekend, or, whenever I'm doing my discovery calls, I have that on the calendar as well. If someone signs up for World Voice League, I have that on the calendar. And so that allows me to kind of gauge what I'm doing throughout the month. That at the end of the month, I can look at the calendar and say, I made this amount of calls this month. And it yielded a new client in this section, a new client in that section, and it yielded this. So I can see that by me making that clear distinction and having it written down. You must write it down. So I am going to give you 2 minutes. And yes, even if you're listening to the replay, take 2 minutes to write this down on your index card or in your notebook if you're using one, starting now. Okay, so you should have written down your goals to those 3 things that I asked. You should have them written out, an actual number goal or percentage goal on your paper. So that takes me to, now that we know our goals for the second quarter, it's time to purge, plan, and pursue. Purge, plan, and pursue. So this part is the part that is really important. When we think about purging, when we think about planning and pursuing, this is how you make space for what it is that you want to achieve. This is how you go ahead and you create the momentum. And this is one of the things that many entrepreneurs lack in this area, because they don't do that purge to create space. They don't plan and pursue so that way they can create the momentum in their business. And so they do one thing and then they stop. They do another thing and then they stop. And the thing about it is, when you stop, now I have to build up that momentum all over again. How many of you can definitely relate to that one, right? Where literally you were doing so well and then things just kind of stumbled a little bit. You had a fork in the road, an obstacle, and now you're trying to go back and start over. That's what it feels like. You're trying to start over from scratch. Well, this is why purge, plan, and pursue is so important, is that it's a continuous cycle. You can do it quarterly, like we do during the strategy session, or you can do it monthly. You can do it bi-monthly. But making it a habit is what's most important. Like, make it a habit so you continuously do it. So that way you do not get overwhelmed by emails you don't open. You don't get overwhelmed or have analysis paralysis with all of this information and information overload. You don't get overwhelmed by these things because you're continuously putting this system into place. Purge, plan, pursue. Now, this system came about for me because I found myself kind of, that shiny object syndrome, going and collecting books and collecting emails and collecting all of this stuff, and none of it was moving my business forward. So I'll give an example. One example is, I remember being in a program where they were teaching you have all these freemiums, get all these people in your email list. And then I got people on my email list. I think I was up to like 5,000 people on my email list. And guess what? They weren't opening the emails because people get high on this feeling of downloading a free thing. Um, they get excited about this free thing, but they're not necessarily your ideal clients. And even if you go and you create the perfect freemium, guys, we gotta often understand that there will be people who download stuff just because it is free. And so I found myself with 5,000 people on my email list and about a 7% open rate. Horrific, horrible. Okay. So it wasn't until I decided that I was going to do this whole plan, this whole purge, plan, and pursue system. And it changed everything for me for this one. Now I've done it in different arenas and different, pieces of my business, but this is just one that really stands out. I went and I purged my email list. And some of you just cringed because you're like, but I worked so hard to get them on my list. I worked so hard to connect with them. That's fine, but you need to let them go. And so if they have not engaged with your emails for about 6 months or more, it's okay to let them go. And I'm bold with mine. So if they haven't engaged with an email in about 90 days, they get unsubscribed from the email list and get scrubbed. Here was the thing. I went from 7% open rate to 40% open rate. I'm not mad at that. So I get people who open my emails, read my emails, engage with my emails, as opposed to having a whole bunch of people in the email and they never even opened it. Never. And then some people, because it's been so long, when you do send them an email, they feel like you're spamming them because they don't even remember getting on your email list. Like it's that bad out here, guys, because people are doing so much to get people on their list. Then it was the plan. What was my plan to connect with these people on my email list? So I send them 2 emails, possibly 3 a month. I do not spam their email. I do not do a whole bunch of sales pitches in their email. I do have a conversation with them. And I was really deliberate about creating a newsletter that I could send to them a couple times a month with some insight, some information that was going to benefit them. Again, what was my plan? Now, they do get access to, some different replays of different things that I may be doing. I may go live and send them the replay of the live or something of that nature, but it sets me apart where I'm not always spamming their email and I'm not always sending them buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. I had a significant plan, a strategic plan that I have for them as we go throughout the rest of 2021. So second quarter, I know exactly what I'm going to send to them already. That's crazy, right? I know exactly what I'm sending to them already in second quarter because I purged first and then I created the plan and then pursue. I went back and I said, how would I like to get people on my email list? I want to authentically connect with people. And so through Linktree, I have an option for them to give me their email to get on my list. Now, this is without a freemium. So it's not all enticing and, but if they've had a conversation with me, especially because right now everything is conversational over on Clubhouse, if they have a conversation with me or they hear something that they're, interested in, they could always join my email list and connect with me there. It gives them an option. So they've already made the connection with me. There's something that they already got from me. And then it leads them there, as opposed to the whole, them having to download something and, all of that whole process. So now for you, the process may be different. It may be different. But as we are standing here right now, okay, I want you to think about the one thing that you are going to purge in your business and the one thing that you are going to purge in your home. And I want you to write that down. When it comes to the plan, that thing that you purged, What is your plan around it? So something you may purge is Facebook. You guys know that we're those of you who are in the class today or listening to the replay that are a part of my membership or in one of my programs, you know that Facebook is doing some changes. And so there's some purging, that I have to do and some things that'll be shifting, but it's for a good reason. And I have a plan that I'm going to do. So it's not just purging just to purge, but it's purging to be able to put myself in a better position as an entrepreneur with all the changes going on. And then pursue. How am I going after those people? I have to be engaged in conversation in order for people to connect, right? So what's my daily, engagement plan? How am I pursuing people daily? How am I pursuing people each quarter or each month? What's my goal for that? Those things are really, really important. So with going through all of that, because I know it was a lot, I want you to pick the one thing in business that you will purge and create a plan. We're going to create a plan for that. But first, we're going to do the one thing in your business you are going to purge. And I mean, we are about to purge it right now. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. What is that thing that you need to purge? Is it your emails? Is it your social media? What is that thing? I'll give an example. Some of you may need to go to your LinkedIn, or you may need to go to your Instagram or to your Facebook and look at your friends list or your followers and see if there are bot accounts on there following you. Yes, there can be bot accounts even on LinkedIn. So you may take this 10-minute block that we're about to have and go and into your LinkedIn and go through, whatever amount of names you can go through at that time. Are they someone that's been engaged in the last 90 days? Because if they haven't been engaged in 3 months, guys, are they really, can you really consider them to be your target audience, or that you want to connect and stay connected with them? If they haven't even been engaged in 3 months, then that's not the platform that you want to try to find them on or connect with them on. Now, I'll talk about how you can extend that a little bit later, but that may not be the platform that you want to connect with them on, and it's okay. You just unfollow. Looking at your Instagram, looking at the followers, now this is sad to say, but a lot of them on Instagram, it'll say that they're doing something with Forex or Bitcoin or all of this stuff. You got to be really careful. Or they're following a large number of people with not a lot of posts and not a lot of people following them. Really look at these accounts. Now, what Instagram does is it shows you, who you've been least active with. And so you can start by going there. If you go to the followers on your Instagram, click on that, it'll tell you as a button, it says, least active, and click on there and it'll give you a list of accounts that you have not been active with that you are connected to. See that part? And those are ones that you're following. And then the ones that are followers, you'll have to go through those individually. It'll take some time, but it's okay. We're doing this in a 10-minute increment. So for the next 10 minutes, this is what I want you to do. Go to that one social media platform or your email list or your personal emails, your business emails, and you're doing that purge for the next 10 minutes. So do the purge, get the work done. So that way you can get this together. Let's go.